Why is Ford halting production on all of their Mustangs? Hey guys, what's going on, and welcome back to Shifting Lanes. My name's Chad, and today we are talking about one of my all-time favorite vehicles, the Ford Mustang. But before we get into any of that, if you like today's video, consider giving us a thumbs up. If you found it informative, helpful, and want to find your way back, consider subscribing with notifications on. That way you get all of the Shifting Lanes content as we release it. On to today's video, and like I said before, we're talking about the Ford Mustang, one of my favorite cars that have ever existed. I have loved the Mustang since I basically knew what cars were. I own a 2015 Mustang GT with the performance and premium packages, and it is by far and away the best car I have ever owned. My Mustang is an absolute joy to drive. It sounds epic. It is everything the 8-year-old inside of me ever dreamed it could possibly be, which is exactly the reason I am eventually going to be adding boost in search of 700 rear wheel horsepower. I love this car. This is one of those forever cars, a car I don't think I will ever sell, a car that I will continue to mod, continue to make better, continue to make mine. It is just an absolute amazing vehicle to own, drive, etc. However, like most automotive enthusiasts, I fill the duller moments of my day by browsing the latest in automotive news. So naturally, when I come across an article entitled Ford to halt Mustang production, it has my attention. Now, after reading this article, everything is not as doom and gloom as the title would leave you to believe. However, it does indicate a major issue hitting the automotive industry. What is happening is Ford is halting production of the Mustang in early May with the hopes of renewing production later in the year. What is the cause of the halt? Simply put, the microchip shortage that is affecting the entire world has started to seriously hamper the auto manufacturer's ability to produce new cars. Chevy has already halted production on the Camaro. Chrysler shut down production of the Charger, Challenger, and the Chrysler 300. In addition, Chrysler's parent company, Stellantis, will no longer offer digital dash/speedometers in one, possibly more, of their Peugeot models. Ford has been selling the new F-150 without fuel management modules as a way to preserve their dwindling stock of microchips. Porsche is doing the same thing with the Macan's adjustable seats. Mercedes-Benz is halting production of the C-Class cars in favor of producing more expensive models to try and preserve what profit margins they have. This strikes me as a bit greedy. However, this is Mercedes we're talking about. It's not like they're out there making cars for the everyman. They make luxury cars. So if they can kind of help their profit margin by selling higher end vehicles, it kind of seems like par for the course, especially for your luxury manufacturers. Mercedes-Benz's parent company, Daimler, is shutting down its entire compact car plant in Germany, where 18,500 workers are currently employed. All of this points to the bigger issue at hand, and the fact that this is an industry-wide, a worldwide issue that is affecting pretty much every single auto manufacturer out there. It is affecting not only the bigwigs at these major corporations that produce the cars, but you got the workers on the production line, you have the consumers like us, you have the people working at dealerships, all of whom are going to be affected by this chip shortage. So there are a couple questions that absolutely need to be asked in this particular situation, and that is, what caused this? Why are we currently experiencing a chip shortage? And secondly, how is this going to affect the overall car buying process for me, you, and basically all dealerships out there? There are multiple factors going into this. Number one, we obviously are in the middle, hopefully at the tail end of, but we're currently in the middle of a worldwide pandemic. And that caused plant shutdowns, that caused disruptions in supply chains, that caused a lot of major issues for both manufacturers, supply companies, and the trickle-down effect reaches the end product. So in this case, we're talking about cars. Another factor playing into this is the extreme rise in demand for items that have these chips in them. TVs, tablets, cell phones, computers, gaming consoles, all of these fancy electronics require chips. The rise in demand for these products has skyrocketed. So it's kind of a perfect storm, in my opinion. You have supply chain manufacturing disruptions combined with a higher than normal demand, and really a shortage was almost inevitable. So what does this mean for me, for you, for anyone out there who either A, wants a new car, or B, needs a new car? What does it mean when you walk through that dealership door going to buy your new vehicle? Not to oversimplify it, but it is simple supply and demand. The supply is dwindling, which means your haggling process, your haggling ability to get that better deal on a vehicle, unfortunately, that is going to be cut back pretty severely. No more you're going to be able to go in there on the end of the month and see what they have left on the lot that they're looking to kick out the door. store and get a really good deal. The dealerships know they have a limited supply. They know also that they're going to basically sell all of these vehicles. So your chances of getting a really good deal on a car, unfortunately, have been reduced pretty drastically. Another knock-on effect of this is that used car values are going to go up as well, especially cars that are fresh off of lease or low mileage examples, or your like new certified pre-owned vehicles. They're all going to command higher price tags. Certified pre-owned vehicles especially, because again, these vehicles, obviously they're not brand new, but they're sold as like new, which means if they don't have the new car you're looking for, maybe a 2-year-old model sits on the lot, it's certified, it's going to command a higher price tag than it had before the shortage. Now, you might be forgiven for thinking that the reverse might be true as well, i.e., if you have a used car that might be worth, say, $7,000, $8,000, you might be thinking that car might nudge $10,000 now. You might be able to get more if you sell your car during this chip shortage. And while in private sale, yes, that might be true. When you go to trade in your car, this is where it gets a little bit more complicated. Let's face it, these dealerships, these auto manufacturers, the car industry as a whole, or at least the car sales industry as a whole, their profit margins are gonna be dropping. Let's face it, you don't have as much to sell, therefore you don't have as much to make. So when you go to trade in your car, you might be thinking it's worth $6,000, maybe $7,000 in trade-in. With the shortage, with the demand for used cars going up, they might give you a deal on it. However, they're not making as much money, so they're not gonna have as much money to give back to you as far as a trade-in is concerned. You might be able to find a dealership who's enterprising and saying, hey, we will absolutely give you max dollar for your trade-in, but I wouldn't necessarily bank on it. The good news is this is far from a permanent situation. Eventually, chip demand / supplies will normalize. Production will resume, supplies will go back to normal, and we will return back to a state pre-chip shortage of how to buy a car, i.e. you'll be able to haggle again, used cars won't be quite as expensive, new cars won't be quite as expensive. The problem is we don't know exactly when this is going to happen. It could be end of the year, it could be all the way into 2022. We don't really know at this point. Best thing you could do right now is that if you don't need a new car, maybe see if you can eke out one more year out of the current car you are driving. This way, when things go back to normal, say next year, hopefully sooner than that, you will actually be able to get the right value for the car you're buying as opposed to paying a premium because we're currently in a supply shortage. And that's pretty much it. I want to take a second. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you want to find Shifting Lanes on social media, it's at Shifting Lanes. I personally am at Kennedy83. Don't worry, guys. Like I said, this isn't a permanent situation. The car buying market will go back to normal. You might have to wait it out for a little bit, but it will return to normal. But as for this video, that's a wrap. I'll catch you guys next time.